welcome to watching the channel Music in Music, and then my name is Tjoe here, and then today I'm very exciting to interview a very famous jazz club in London, Ronnie Scott, and then he's the one of the very important person here, Paul Pace.
That's
Yes.
right, that's me. Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit first before we started?
Yes, my role here is as a music programmer. I have my job title is music programmer and legacy manager. So I'm looking after the archives as well as booking bands. So
Right.
I have a long history with the club, and that seems appropriate as well.
The legacy manager is like the new post in it.
Yes, that's right. It's I don't think there's any other legacy manager in the world attached to a jazz
No,
club,
okay.
but Ronnie Scott is so historic that
Exactly.
it's here from 1959. There is a tremendous history, of all the great musicians who played here and the great performances.
Yeah, cool. So I've got a few questions here. So the first question is like, can you just briefly introduce how's Ronnie Scott in the history and all the things?
Yes. Well, it was founded in 1959 by two passionate musicians, Ronnie Scott and Pete King. Both were saxophonists. And Ronnie Scott, by that time, had become a bit of a leader of his generation. He was playing with a band called the Jazz Couriers with Tubby Hayes, who was a childhood prodigy, but by the time that the late 50s, he was becoming a household name, certainly within jazz fans. And Ronnie and him co-led this quintet, a hard bop quintet called the Jazz Couriers, and Pete King was their business manager. But Pete and Ronnie's history together went back into the 40s when they were inspired by the likes of Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie from the bebop movement of the 40s. So that was the music they wanted to promote. And
Right.
at that time it was called modern jazz, and they themselves were played on the ocean liners that went over and disembarked in New York, saw their heroes close up in a club similar to
100%,
what
yeah.
Ronnie Scott's is like. So that was the inspiration.
Right.
Places like Three Deuces and Birdland in 52nd Street, New York. So they thought it would be great to have something like that in the UK, presenting that
Right.
music.
That's very cool. Like from what you're saying is like the people back then is actually want to promoting modern jazz, isn't it?
Mm.
Back in the 50s,
Yes,
like
yes.
60s, yeah. And so thinking jazz is always like it's like a forward thinking music, isn't it?
Very progressive. It
Very progressive, yeah.
it reflects our times. I mean, the best jazz does, because it's grown out of socio-economic circumstances. Unfortunately the slave trade, but also all the expression of the Afro-American people, and it's developed into something else to become a world music. But it's also it's
Exactly.
ahead generally of most mainstream music. A lot of mainstream music
I
copies
agree
from
with
jazz.
that,
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yes. Okay, it's cool. And the second question is like, what's your the biggest memorable experience when you're staying in Ronnie's when you're working here?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any-
That's a big question. I mean, it depends how I'm feeling on the day in a way, but there have
Right.
been so many. I mean,
if something like, I'm asking this question when you're popping in your head, like something, what kind of musician here you're seeing, what kind of any things, like basically
yes. Well, I
anything
enjoy
you
it.
have seen, like any drama or any
Yes. Well, I mean, I
funny
think
things.
the inspiration for becoming a promoter in a way, because I've promoted other rooms around London, including Spice Jazz and Spice of Life, etc.
Exactly.
But the inspiration there was the interaction of the musicians, and I think that happened particularly memorable in my mind is the quartet led by Cedar Walton, and they played here many times, and I came here as a very enthusiastic punter. And saw, and in the corner was Billy Higgins. Billy Higgins was lit up the room. He was dubbed Smiling Billy by Cedar, I think. It was David Williams, the bass player, wrote a tune called Smiling Billy, and he lit up the room. But also Cedar and David Williams on bass. The most memorable band that I saw here was the Cedar Walton Quartet, and I came to see them several times. They played here from, I suppose, the 80s into the 90s, and in the last 15 years Cedar did come here before he unfortunately passed away. But Cedar Walton was a fantastic, very positive piano player, and he had a quartet with the likes of Bob Berg on tenor sax, who was an incredible player, played later with Miles Davis after that, and with Billy Higgins on drums. Billy Higgins, one of the great drummers in the music, very good cymbal work, but also his persona on stage was so positive, and he used to be smiling from the corner of the room, where the drum kit is at the moment, is where he would sit and he'd light up the room with his smile. We had some great bass players like David Williams and Sam Jones who played with the quartet. Yeah.
That's great.
A great interaction. That was the thing that inspired me, the way they followed each other, looked at each other, and played as a real team. So that was it, and the music, of course, was incredible. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so the next question is, what is like you as a, let's say you as a like a program manager, you're booking the band. So how do you choose the band to what to be putting on program? Like, because like you say, back in the day it's like more like, they want to promote the modern jazz. So now you are on the spotlight. Okay, what can I put in the club now?
Yeah,
so,
I mean.
So what are you thinking about this?
As a programmer, you need to stand back a bit as well, because you have your own personal tastes, but also you've got to challenge yourself. You've got to say, well, might not be the music I would go and listen to myself, but I know that there is a following for that music, and it reflects what's happening today, and also has a following, and you need to be able to reflect that in the club. I think in your programming has to be varied enough to, as a business, you have to attract the widest possible number of people and the most number of people to make the club work as a business. But also musically, it needs to feel right in the room. Some bands are just too loud and so on for the room. It wouldn't give the right atmosphere. But you need to be flexible, and there's so many different subgenres of the music and music influenced by jazz that crossover music, that those need to be accommodated as well. So you look at all those aspects, all those different genres, and you go for the very best, because this is a world-renowned club. They have to be world class basically to play here. Certainly for the main shows, and then you have the sort of late shows, which keep the standards up, of course, but they are places where musicians are nurtured in a way for greater things,
like me,
like you, of course. Exactly.
Yeah.
So and also you need to think out of the box in terms of going to other venues and read up about stuff, listen to stuff outside the club, so that you're aware you're not in this bubble, because Ronnie Scott's can be a bit of a bubble. It's quite unique in that the sense it's been here for a long time, and it has a great reputation. So you're trying also to keep the legacy alive in terms of the quality. So if anybody comes here, the great name that we have, we don't want to lose that. And bad news travels fast. When you start booking below what you should be booking for the status of the club, then that unfortunately will eat into the brand. The brand is so strong that you want to keep it there.
Yeah, I agree. Like when I was performing here before, like we get booked, and then we all get very excited, basically, because it's like, this is like a Ronnie Scott, like a famous jazz club, and then we are playing there now, and then always get that hype for me.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's funny. I think it's in the walls now. I think all the legends are in the walls.
Yeah.
And when I first came to work here, I came here 15 years ago, and my first visit here. First visit here was in the 70s when I was at school. But a long while ago. But I couldn't believe I had to pinch myself, because I've done other things in my life. But this was quite amazing to be in this place that I worshipped. When I came here, it was a real oasis.
Yeah, they definitely have a magic here.
Yeah,
I would say they have a magic in this place. Yeah,
and you can feel it in the room, even though there's no one on stage at the moment.
Yeah,
it feels like this is serious. This is not.
This is the place. Yeah, this is the place.
Exactly.
Cool. I heard that you say you got like the main show and the late show here. So can you tell me like how many shows a week is Ronnie Scott having? Yeah,
it's very intensive, and it's probably
very intensive.
The biggest employer of musicians, I think, in the world. In terms of and the number of shows we have. We have generally 1 to 2 shows in the main room on a Monday. So we have the a textbook example would be the main show, which would be 2 45-minute sets, and then the jazz jam, which starts at 9:30 or 11 o'clock, depending on whether we put 1 or 2 shows on the Monday. Then we go for 1 to 2 shows on the Tuesday. And then we have 3 shows from Wednesday to Saturday. So there are 2 main shows and then a late show, which goes until 2 o'clock, and we close the club at 3.
Wow, so there's like more than 20 shows happening in Ronnie Scott in a week, basically.
That's right. It's also we're open all year round. Some jazz clubs close in the summer.
No holiday.
No holiday, that's right. Except for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, we have 1 day off where they clean the club very deeply and we have a staff party. So that's it. Otherwise, as you say, 20 odd shows a week, where we have 1 or 2 shows on the Monday and Tuesday, and then we go to 3 shows, 2 main shows plus a late show, Wednesday to Saturday, and then on Sunday we have a lunchtime show and an evening show. So it does add up a lot, and you think about number of musicians,
a lot.
Big bands to duos and so on. We book a lot of musicians.
Like all years, if you want to come. Yeah,
exactly.
So the next question is like, if I want to play in Ronnie Scott, how do I do that to do that?
Well, first of all, I think you need to feel that you're at the level to play at the club, and you can see all the other people who played here. You check that. You also come to the club. You hang out. You get to know the people who work in the club, maybe, and so on, and also do a bit of research, and then you apply to the music team. One person in the music team,
and basically.
Absolutely. Well, I have colleagues as well, but to one of us, if you send a group email, then the problem is that who steps forward to answer it. So it's better to say, well, I built up this working relationship with one of the bookers at Ronnie's. I'll go along that route, and that one person will present it to the others as well. So you're not losing out in that way. We have a music team meeting once a week, and we bring our projects to everybody else, and we discuss those. So it's best to apply by one system. Email is preferred because then you have a trail, you have an email trail. You can look back on what you've discussed before and keep the application precise, very concise. So you name of the band, the lineup, maybe 200 words describing the music and the show you're bringing, your social handles, and then professionally taken photograph, landscape preferred because that fits best on the website, and then some footage, very short bit of footage that will convince people to buy tickets, to excite them to buy tickets.
The main point is to convince people to buy tickets.
Exactly.
Straight to the point.
Straight to the point. You're talking my language. And
cool. That's a like a tips here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. And do you have any plans for Ronnie Scott will be expanding?
Well, within the building we have, because we're currently refurbishing upstairs, and that should be open in September. And upstairs is the bar where we have music. We put on music, but it's going to be more a venue, a sort of smaller version of what we have downstairs, and maybe a broader scope of genres upstairs. And the capacity there will be about 100 seated. We have 220 downstairs, so it'll be half that. And then we have a new stage, new sound system, lighting, and so on. It's going to be quite amazing. And
I'm looking forward to that.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Hopefully, I can play upstairs.
Well,
we'll do.
I hope
we'll
so.
talk.
Yeah, we'll talk later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last question of the day. Very thank you, Paul, to having an interview
My
here.
pleasure.
So I would like to ask, what is the plan for Ronnie Scott in 2025 here?
Well, for us to continue booking the very best on the world scene and the local scene, and to just challenge ourselves in terms of what we're doing here. You always look at the programming monthly, over the year, weekly, even 2 days next to each other, to see that we're actually doing, covering everything and presenting the very best in the music. But also, we'll be going to other festivals and so on to just check what's coming through in Europe and in the States and so on, to just stay, hopefully at the top of the game.
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much, Paul.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's a very good interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Thanks.